If you've set goals before and somehow you're in the same place where you were before, let's fix that. Hi, my name is Elena and welcome back to Fluent in Life. There's a simple framework in NLP called well-formed outcome, and once you understand it, your goals will stop feeling forced and they will start feeling clear. Quick note before we begin, NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming, and it's a set of tools and techniques to understand yourself, other people, and the world when it comes to behavior, thoughts, patterns, and how to reframe them or change them intentionally if you need to. And well-formed outcome is one of those tools. So if you have done the work of reviewing your wins and losses, reviewing your wheel of life, understanding where you're at in terms of seasons, what season of life are you in, this is what you do next. And if you haven't, you can watch video number 1 and video number 2. I'll leave the links in the description below. So here comes the fun part. There are 2 options, depending on where you're at in life. If you feel like you're ready to do something more, you want to achieve something, you want to progress, you feel the energy to do it, great, then this is what we will use the well-formed outcome for. If not, if maybe your season of life right now is winter, right, where you just need to hibernate and wait for the spring to come, there's the other option. I'll start with the other option first, intention. So we have seen this in one of my videos before. And so for intention, this is a high-level direction, right? It's going to act as your compass for directions. For example, you can say, this year I want more clarity, I want more wisdom, I want more stability, calm, harmony, peace, whatever it is for you, more fun, right? And every time you are about to make a decision, a choice for how you're spending your day, you think about your intention word, and you can write it somewhere clear and put it on the wall, on your phone, or just memorize it, right? So it has to be your compass for the year or 2 years, depending on where you're at in life. The intention word means that this is a general theme of your year or 2, meaning that every decision you make is aligned with this word, right? So for example, if your intention word is health, it can be generic in this case. This means that throughout the year, you are making decisions that are helping you to stay healthy, meaning some activity, healthy eating, maybe cooking at home, not fast food, and maybe just getting some more knowledge about what factors affect your health and implementing them, small steps. It doesn't have, of course, it doesn't mean that you can eat burgers or anything like that. There can be exceptions, but you want to stay consistent with the theme of the intention of the year. That, for example, I've always been someone who loved setting goals and getting them, achieving them. So I would sit down in December, what we're doing right now, and think what happened this year, where I want to go next year, in which direction. And 2022, February 2022, I am in New Zealand, running a full-time language coaching business and loving it, teaching online languages, coaching, NLP, etc. Making plans to continue growing it when the war in Ukraine starts. For context, I'm Ukrainian, although I have lived in multiple countries. Ukraine is still my country, right? Where I was born and where I grew up. So that threw me off for some time, and I was no longer in a position to create goals and to achieve them because at that moment, I personally felt like I needed more stability. And although self-employment is fun and I still like the idea of it, in that moment, I needed stability and I needed to work for someone else where, you know, your paycheck and you're doing something, so all good. And so 2022 2023 and 2024 were the years where I just decided I'm going to set an intention and no specific goals, because I had no capacity, no energy, no motivation, no drive, nothing to think of any goals, and even less to achieve them. So if you're in a stage of life where you're going through a big transition, a big layoff, I don't know, divorce, moving countries, I don't know, something that requires something where your survival instincts almost kick in, maybe this is the time for setting an intention. If you feel like setting a goal and achieving it, here's the technique. So, well-formed outcome. Most goals are too vague. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. I want to be fit. I want to learn a language. Too vague. We want specificity here. So you can start from asking yourself, what is it exactly that I want? And also, please avoid stating it in a negative form. Avoid saying, I don't want to something something. You want to use the positive form. I will give you 2 examples. What I hear the most. One is about staying fit and about fitness and health, and the other one about learning languages, because this is what I've done before, and I'm still a lover of all languages. So I'm the most familiar with these 2. So what is it exactly that you want? For example, I want to feel strong and energized. That's a good start. Or I want to learn a language. What language specifically and what level? For example, I want to learn Italian, and I want to be able to have a small conversation in Italy and be able to order food at a restaurant. Great, that's a good start. How do I know I get it? Or how do I know I'm there where I want to be? And here's a really fun exercise. So you can close your eyes, or you can just let your imagination fly, or you can start writing it down, whatever works best for you. And here you start to fantasize, or here you start thinking about your desired outcome. What will you see, hear, and feel when you're there? Example number 1 with fitness. How do I know that I'm strong, energized, right? For example, when you close your eyes and you imagine, right, what will I see? What is a specific situation that you can think of that will make you realize you got there? For example, you got your groceries and the elevator is not working. And so you have this heavy backpack, these 2 heavy bags, and you need to bring them up the 5th floor. And so you feel the heaviness of the bags, and you feel the heaviness on your back, and you feel good about it. You don't feel like you can't lift it. And so you keep walking, and you go upstairs, and you go up the stairs, and you go until you reach your apartment, open the door, and come in. And you feel good about it because you feel strong. You feel it in your body. You see the efforts that have been paying out. So here you see a specific situation. So maybe you imagine that you are actually in your apartment building and you see it, you picture it. I want you to close your eyes, if you're okay with that, and see it. Tune in. So imagine that you're downstairs, the elevator is not working, you have the bags, and you go up the stairs. This is what you see. What you feel is you feel really good about yourself, right? Because you're stronger, you feel more energized, and you really feel good about staying consistent with your workouts or activities. So you feel very satisfied and happy. And what you hear, maybe you hear the plop of the bags in your groceries. Maybe you hear the steps, your steps on the stairs. Or you hear some music because you listen to the music when you go out for groceries. I don't know your situation. This is an example. You get the idea, right? Second example with languages. Let's go back to Italian. What will you hear, feel, and see? The order doesn't matter here. The important thing is that you have all 3. So, for example, you see that you're in Italy, you're in a cafe, right? So what you see is you sitting at a table, maybe sitting by the window, so you see what's outside, what's happening outside. People are walking by. You see other people around you. What you hear? Maybe you hear some music in the bar, in the cafe. Maybe you hear the chatter. You hear the coffee machine. And what do you feel? You feel really good about yourself because you have just ordered the coffee in Italian and you even had a small conversation with the barista and you really feel so satisfied with it and happy and proud of yourself because you learned Italian and now you can have a basic conversation with someone. And I want you to lock this feeling in, this perception, this image made of hear, feel, and see. Next is what's in my control, in your control. So something like, I will wait until the economy gets better doesn't work. So, what are some actions that you can influence, right? So, for the first example of fitness, it can be something like signing up for a local gym or booking a session with a personal trainer or, I don't know, download an app on your phone and start tomorrow with 5 minutes Pilates or something. For languages, it can be something similar, right? Maybe you have a friend who has learned Italian and now lives in Italy or something like that. You can ask a friend for recommendations of teachers or join a local meetup group for language exchange to meet some Italians, or I don't know, download an online course or start watching videos on YouTube. Whatever it is that you can do, that is a small step to get you started. Next is, what is your why? This is important. What is your why? Why do you want this to start with? This is going to be your biggest driver. So for fitness and staying strong, energetic, maybe it's health, right? It can be different things for different people, different values, but I'm going to go with health for this example, right? So maybe feeling strong and energized is about health for you, right? So that's the big why, because you want to stay healthy and you know to live until 100 years old. For the language part, again, it can be different things for different people. It can be for anything from belonging, right? Because you feel like you want to belong to a different community, or maybe because you have curiosity and you're curious, and this is how you fulfill your and feed your curiosity by to different places or learning languages. Maybe it can be something else, right? So think about it, and or maybe it's connection, right? Because you like to connect with people from other cultures. I don't know what it is for you, but about your why. One is ecology check. And this is where you check reality for alignment. Are you in the right season of your life right now? Does this goal fit this season? Does this goal support your life, relationships, health, energy? Do you need to adjust anything to make this goal fit into your life right now? And a good example here is what I've heard from language students. Start with some unrealistic goals. And so what I usually tell them is, okay, great. Love that you have this enthusiasm for, you spend 5 hours a day learning Italian. How about we start with 10 minutes twice a week? And you set a more realistic goal and it fits into your life more easily versus 5 hours per day. Or if you have a family, you have kids to look after, you have commitments, you gotta be realistic about how you can fit your goal in. And maybe you need to get rid of something. Maybe you need to spend less time on doing something else, right? Because when you say yes to one thing, you're saying no to something else. Another one is what resources you may need to achieve this goal. For resources, it can be anything from money, time, people who can help you with something, energy, anything is a resource. So people that can help you with something, with a suggestion or a teacher or a personal trainer, fitness coach, be realistic here, because if, for example, you have never done any physical activity before, it's not going to be realistic to set a goal of working out high intensity every single day, at least 1 hour. It's not going to be realistic. So you want to start with something small and allocate your time and resources to that goal. And overall, when you think about this goal, a good sign is if you feel good about it. You really feel good about it. You want it. You want to get there. If there's an internal conflict, if there's incongruency, you're not probably gonna get there to start with. You will not follow through. But when it feels aligned and congruent, consistency, motivation, and dedication and discipline will come to you more easily. So, a quick recap. What exactly do I want? Positive statement. How do I know I will get there? See, hear, and feel. What will I see? What will I hear? What will I feel? Imagine a specific situation. What's in my control? What resources do I need? What's the first small step I can take? Ecology check. Is my life right now at a point where I could fit this goal in? Or is there something that will create conflict or incongruency? So the magic of this technique is that when you connect the goal clarity with a sensory feeling, this goal becomes more doable, and it's like we're creating this huge, powerful magnet that you will feel pulled towards. We have this big vision and tiny steps to keep the progress. Okay, and troubleshooting. There will be moments where you will not feel like you want to do it. Okay, it's normal. So if something feels off, you want to ask yourself, is it a temporary fatigue or demotivation? If yes, okay, good. Work with that. There's ways to go around that. That will be January. Or is there a value shift? Maybe you don't feel aligned to this goal anymore. Big question. And if that is the case, take your time to think about it. And it's okay to drop it if something else becomes a priority. The worst thing someone can do is to keep pushing, even if that goal is not aligned with their values, their lifestyle, their personality, or something else anymore. Please don't do it. Another thing to keep in mind is that motivation is temporary. Motivation is something that can help us when we are feeling a little bit of fatigue or demotivated. That's when you imagine your goal, your ideal picture. But it's discipline. What counts? Discipline and consistency. Because 2 small workouts per week are better than a 3-hour workout once a month. 10 minutes of language learning per day or twice a week is better than 5 hours once a month. And how it works in real life is, example with Italian. Say you're in month 2 of learning Italian and you have weekly sessions with your coach or your teacher, but then there's that day that you're like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to do this. Quick reality check. Did you have a good sleep? Is there something going on in your life? Is it just temporary? Is it you're just tired? You need to take a break from something? It's okay, right? So if you occasionally skip something, it's okay. If you just feel lazy or disconnected from this goal, you bring back your why. Why are you doing this? And you start thinking again of that feel, see, and hear, right? So what will you see, hear, and feel when you achieved it, right? And this is a really good and powerful way to resurface that enthusiasm, that excitement that you need to continue and to stay consistent. And by the way, if you're a very visual person, you can create a vision board for yourself with images and pictures that give you the same emotions that you feel when you imagine your desired outcome. And when you're demotivated or you don't want to do it, you look at it and instantly feel that urge to go and do it. I hope this helps. I would love to hear what some of your intentions or goals are for next year or 2 years. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. And I can't wait to start a new chapter in January about habits, because what's the point of setting a goal if then it's hard to create a new habit? So I'm going to talk about habits, consistency, motivation, and two powerful questions you can ask yourself when you feel lost or you feel like you don't want to do anything anymore. Stay tuned and see you next month. Bye.